Nnamdi Kanu, history and the quiet shifts that could change everything. You see, many people do not like Nnamdi Kanu. Some dislike his tone, some disagree with his methods, some simply do not want to hear his name. But here is the hard truth. You do not have to like a man to listen to his arguments. And when you carefully listen to many of Nnamdi Kanu's speeches, one thing stands out clearly. He does not just talk, he cites examples. History, countries, presidents, patterns. And that is why some people say his words sound like prophecies. Not because he is mystical, but because he studies history and power. In one of his speeches, Nnamdi Kanu addressed a major issue inside the Biafran movement itself. He said some people, out of frustration, tell them, if you want the war to take you seriously, you must go to war. And his response was clear. No, we will not go to war. Not because war is impossible, but because war is not necessary. He then asked a simple question, though examples. Did Albania go to war before independence? Did the Soviet Union collapse through one single war? Did Kosovo become what it is today through total military defeat? His argument is simple. Not all independence movements succeed through violence. Some succeed through international recognition, pressure, and timing.
Some of them, out of frustration, say to us, if you want us to intervene, you must go to war. But we said to them, we cannot go to war. For the very simple reason that Albania didn't go to war before it got its independence, neither did Kosovo. Of course, there were some skirmishes. There was no war before Soviet Union collapsed and everybody went their separate ways. So we don't want to fight a war. If you feel there is merit in our fight for freedom, in our fight for the sovereignty of Biafra, you must do to us as you did to Kosovo, as you did to Albania, unilateral recognition by a powerful country like the USA. We'll do it. A country that has conscience will rise up very soon, I assure you, to say it's time for Biafra to go.
When Nnamdi Kanu mentions Albania and Kosovo, he is not being random. Kosovo is important because it shows something uncomfortable but real in world politics. A powerful country or a group of powerful countries can recognize a region even when the parent country disagrees. That is called unilateral recognition. Look at what happened presently. Israel recognizes Somaliland. It is not about fairness. It is not about emotion. It is about interest, pressure, and global conscience at a specific moment in time. Kanu's point is this. If the world believes a people are being denied their rights, and if the situation becomes morally embarrassing for powerful nations, recognition can happen quietly, then suddenly. And this is where history becomes painful, but necessary. The Biafran War between 1967 and 1970 did not end in glory. It ended in mass death, mostly through starvation. Estimates say up to 2-3 million people died, many of them children. And this is why IPOB keep insisting that another war is unacceptable. Not because people are weak, but because the cost is already known. When Kanu talks about avoiding war, he is not ignoring history. He is haunted by it. And this is a crucial point many critics miss. Though recently, many started saying IPOB has chosen the doctrine of war. Now, the indigenous people of Biafra, at least in principle, have been consistent on one demand: a referendum. A referendum is not a gun. It is not a bomb. It is a question. A simple question to the people. Do you want to remain in Nigeria or do you want to leave? That is what IPOB frames as self-determination under international law. Now, whether one agrees or not, the logic is clear. If Nigeria is truly a voluntary union, then asking the people should not be a crime. This is the moral argument they keep pushing to the international community. Now, let us talk about the word many people are afraid to say: prophecy. When supporters say Nnamdi Kanu sounds prophetic, they are not saying he sees the future in visions. What they mean is this: he talks about things long before they become popular conversations. Years ago, people laughed at the idea of international attention on Nigeria's internal issues. Today, Nigerian human rights record is regularly discussed abroad. Nigeria has been designated recently country of particular concern. Years ago, people said no global power would care. Now, even powerful figures like Donald Trump are making comments and interventions about Nigeria, not about Biafra directly, but about governance, security, and rights. And in global politics, small statements matter. Trump may not have mentioned Biafra. That part is true. But international shifts do not begin with names. They begin with pressure points, human rights, security failures, instability, embarrassment. History shows that big changes often start with small, indirect moves. I hope you are getting the message. Once a country becomes a regular topic of concern, its international issues stop being domestic only. And when that happens, new possibilities open up. Slowly, quietly, unpredictably. This is the space where Nnamdi Kanu believes change can happen. You do not have to support Nnamdi Kanu. You do not have to agree with IPOB. You do not even have to like the idea of Biafra. But if we are being honest, we must admit this. His arguments are structured, historical, and intentional. He may not be calling for war. He is calling for recognition. He is not promising miracles. He is pointing at patterns. And history has strange habit of rewarding patterns. Even when people dismiss them at first. Sometimes the loudest changes come quietly. And sometimes ideas mocked in one decade become serious discussions in the next. Let me tell you one thing. I will leave you to go with this. History does not ask for permission before it turns. Currently, the eyes of the world, especially United States, is on Nigeria. You don't know what might happen next. We are watching.